Hi everyone! We all would agree that taxes and financial regulation are definitely one of the most important things that investors are interested in. As for investors who want to immigrate with the purpose of changing their lives and want to know more about tax or the tax system, most basic concepts, this video is for you. Hi there, Trafford here. I'm here to help you become a global citizen and attain financial and travel independence. My team and I at Portico and Bridge specialize in working with high and ultra-high net worth individuals just like yourselves. We are here to help you find your freedom and choose where you belong. Before we start, I want to state that I am not a tax expert and you should seek professional advice. So today's video is Dare to Sow the Seed. First point we'd like to discuss is, as we know, taxes, regulations and their interpretations vary widely between countries. You need to have a good understanding of the different tax codes, even in your home country, not to mention foreign countries, where tax obligations are an important part of your residency status. Speaking of taxes, there are two basic concepts that you need to know when planning to live abroad. The first is tax resident and the second is double taxation. First, we need to distinguish between resident, temporary residents and permanent residents, and also tax resident. So let's get the easy one out of the way. A tax resident is basically going to be a taxpayer. Now, let's get on to more complicated stuff. When an investor receives a temporary residency card or permanent residency card, a PR of a particular country, it is not necessarily that the investor becomes a tax resident of that country immediately, but will depend on the regulations of each country. Investors should also avoid confusing the length of stay to maintain and renew a card with the length of stay to become a tax resident. There are countries where even if an investor stays for 1 day, they are considered as a tax resident, and there are other countries where they are considered or become a tax resident plus other conditions if they stay for 183 days plus. It's very important to note that this is a very simplistic way of putting things, as there are other factors that come into play when establishing tax residency. However, in many European countries, investors must be present there for more than 183 days to be considered a tax resident. For example, countries such as Portugal, Spain, Greece and Malta. And when you become tax residents, investors must consider whether the host country and your country of origin, for example Vietnam or China, have a double taxation agreement or not, because both countries can simultaneously consider the investor to be a tax resident and require them to pay income tax in both countries. But if there's a double taxation agreement, the investor's income that has been taxed in one country will not be taxed again in the other country, or will be taxed as indicated in the double taxation agreement. In the US, Canada or Australia, to receive a PR card or to maintain permanent residency, investors must live there for most of the time. So investors will become tax residents and must pay tax even. However, for some European countries, there is no requirement to stay long to maintain or permanent residence. So investors will not be tax residents and will only pay income on the income generated in the host country, if the income is generated in or outside the country. However, if the investor plans to settle long term, To meet the conditions to apply for naturalization, the investors will naturally become tax residents as they would stay there for a considerable period of time. At this point, I strongly suggest you speak to a tax professional, as what I said is only generic information and not tax advice. See you tomorrow and make it a great day.